Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And of course, taped live at the twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. AEW New Japan Forbidden Door, for all the curses it may have faced, as is in the books, a successful show, an incredibly fun show. That, regardless of all the injuries, political issues that might have taken place, seems like everybody really did their damnedest to make this a special show. Of course, we have a new AEW Interim World Title Champion title.
Might be a new title, too. I don't know.
I think they had it there, and it looked the same.
But it's not the same one that Phil has.
Oh, no. This is probably different. Yeah, you're probably right. This is like a shop AEW thing. Yeah. It's like no, they just, I was going to send them the one that I got back there that a fan gave us. But But yeah. No, he beat Hiroshi Tanahashi in the main event. And we did see the debut of Claudio Castagnoli. Claudio Cameraman was, in fact, the replacement for Bryan Danielson against Zack Sabre Jr. in a winning effort. Seemed pretty happy to be there. And it was great to see him. The crowd, man, there's a reason why AEW goes back to Chicago all the time. There's a reason why whenever even WWE goes to Chicago, you're going to get decent crowd. They were into this pretty much the entire time.
Yeah. For a show that, for the most part, was fairly predictable. Everybody put in an incredible effort. The pace of the show was great.
It was.
There wasn't a bad match on the card.
Yeah.
And the crowd was in it till the very end, which is impressive because the kickoff show started at 4, bang, with match.
Yeah, there were 4 kickoff show matches.
Yeah, and so there's 5 hours of pretty much just straight wrestling, and they stuck through it the whole way. You mentioned Mox win the interim AEW title. Another new champion crowned tonight. It breaks my heart to say this, but congratulations to you, Steve.
You've had
Big Red's coming to you.
You have had a tremendous 4-month run, and I'm in awe of it. And I got a tall task ahead of me. Not necessarily this month, but certainly in August with the G1. You've been putting out these amazing short films that we do because that's the burden of the champion. I'm excited to get to do one of those now. Scratch that short film itch. But yeah, man, I had to put my thinking cap on this month and really try my damnedest after coming so close.
I try my best with some bookkeeping errors to give myself an advantage.
That's my favorite story in predictions is you giving yourself multiple 5s and 6s. A stupid little mistake, but then we turn it into a story. It's great.
Exactly. And in the end, it was all for naught. The only real surprise of the night was Miro not winning that All-Atlantic Championship. And even the person who I thought would be next in line if Miro were to not win it, Malachi Black, didn't win it either. End up being Pac, which Pac's been there since day one. I know his participation in AEW shows has kind of been all over the place, especially during the pandemic because travel issues.
Yeah.
Pac is a hell of a talent. We're huge fans of him here at Going In Raw.
Oh yeah.
It is well deserved. And I did kind of think going into this, well, I could see them having Miro chase the title because that really feeds into his story. He's got his neck fixed. His story is championships are part of his story.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ultimately, there's a higher power that he wants to face with.
Yeah.
And championships are a part of that, but there's so much more to his story than just like, oh, I want a title. Yeah. And having him chase could lead to some fun and interesting stuff. So,
no, I absolutely agree. I love it for Pac. You and I are both huge fans of his. One of my favorite gifs is of us back in the old office watching the press conference. Pac shows up, you and I big fans, and we start going crazy. So it's great for him, somebody who has been there from the beginning, who has faced a variety of things, be it travel issues because of pandemic, travel issues because he just wants to be at home, or maybe, I don't know if he's had many injuries or not, but But yeah, it seems like this dude really deserves to have a championship, and he'll look great with it.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. It being surprising about Miro, but not terribly. I think in the end, I know you were at the point in the prediction. It's always good to look at the prediction scores just to see where we're feeling about certain matches. And that one, I was all the way down to 3 on that one because I thought for sure, I was like, man, I can see in my head Malachi Black having this. House of Black really needs something. Now, it could be that he looks at Malachi and says, hey, you misted me, because that's how the finish of that match went down.
Yeah.
You misted me. And then you have maybe a couple months of Malachi, of House of Black and Miro. When you're Miro, you kind of need, like, it's sort of given how popular he is and how successful his TNT run was, you'd think, okay, just put a title on him. But what's left for him to do? Like, that seems obvious, but what's left for him to do? If he's got a program with House of Black, the odds are against him. He's got matches with Brody, with Murray, with Buddy Murphy. And of course, with Malachi Black himself. There's a lot you can do there, especially with, the supernatural overtones of House of Black, the religious stuff with Miro.
Miro, yeah.
There's a ton you can do there. That gets you going for a couple months. Pac will no doubt go on a terrific run with and then we'll get, maybe at All Out, maybe even further down the line. Maybe you can take Miro and his story in a million different ways. Like you said, it doesn't necessitate the belt. It used to, I feel. But at this point, he's got an agenda, and that's square off with the big man upstairs.
Yeah, their championships are part of that. He says he wanted 3 things. He wanted the gold, he wanted his face-to-face with God, and he wanted his gorgeous wife back. Those were his words, and all 3 of those are intertwined. But at a certain point, he's got to have he's going to win a belt back. But to an extent, I'm happy they're going to build to that point.
I'm happy for Pac too.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back around to your initial point, what led us to this part of the conversation, it was fairly predictable. I mean, we got that wrong on our predictions.
Otherwise it was Enforcer and I having to take some chances to try to make up ground. Otherwise,
and that was it. Yeah, that was
all the
it.
Same stuff.
Even in the kickoff, there were 4 matches there. The 3 that one of them was such a gimme, and we just found out about it. We didn't even do that one. But otherwise, everything was all pretty predictable. That being said, with AEW, it often is, and it's the journey. The matches were phenomenal.
Yeah, across the board, they were really good.
Across the board, there was not a bad match. I mean, probably the low point was, I'm going to say this and clarify, Orange Cassidy Osprey, because the build was like whatever, and the match was, I thought that the last half of the match was killer. I thought it was really, really good. But some of the meat of it in the middle was like, okay, cool. Yeah. They're doing stuff. Yeah. But how crisp they were towards the finish was awesome. It was really great. I loved it.
Yeah. No, the finish was good. It's an odd mismatch of styles where you got Orange Cassidy, who is a really good wrestler. But he has a thing. He has a comedy thing that he does.
Yeah.
Will Osprey is not known for comedy wrestling.
Right.
And so, there was moments where Orange was doing the quad kicks just like really softly to Osprey's head. And Osprey was like, okay, this is annoying.
Yeah.
And did a good job with that. But I don't know. You're right. Some of the middle of that was kind of whatever.
Well, the finish
was solid.
The funny thing is, if they had committed, number one, this should have been, and I have no idea if he's actually in Chicago or that's just something he tweeted out, but this should have been Yano versus Orange Cassidy. Or maybe Yano versus Danhausen. But Orange Cassidy is sort of their original comedy guy. Yano versus, that's the match right there. If they had made this into a comedy match for the first 75% of it, just straight up comedy, and then it gets chippy. Osprey's happy to clown around, but at the end of the day, this is for the U.S. title.
Yeah. And
then it gets chippy, and then it gets really violent. But I just didn't feel like it had that build. It just had a lot of really good, crisp wrestling towards the finish of it.
Let's talk about this. 2 maybe injuries tonight.
Seemingly the curse continues.
Yeah, I know Adam Cole was injured walking in. He had a shoulder injury, I believe.
Yeah.
So Dax Harwood, during the tag team winner-take-all bout, seemingly injured his shoulder. He came back out. The commentary said that he had a dislocated shoulder. If that was the case, he must have popped it back in, taped him up, sent him back out. FTR won the match. They have like all the tag titles now, save for the AEW ones.
Yeah.
And then the finish to the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match, something seemed off. So Okada's going for a Rainmaker. Adam Cole ducks it. Jay White comes in, hits Okada with a Blade Runner, goes and covers Adam Cole. Ref counts to 3. Jay White wins. So I don't know if it's a situation where Adam Cole was hurt and an audible was called. Let's just get it over with so he can get medical attention. If he was supposed to eat that Rainmaker, I don't know. The media scrums will probably be starting while we're doing this recap. So if we get any additional information on Dak's condition, Adam Cole's condition, hopefully we'll relay that to you. But it looked like even towards the end, Adam Cole kind of got that shoulder.
Oh, he did. This seemed like miscommunication. It's kind, that's one kind of minor interesting, I guess, asterisk, minor point about this was the difference between the refereeing. Sorry, I just texted you an awesome picture of Pac with that All Atlantic title. If anybody wants, if you go to All Elite Wrestling's Twitter account, oh my God, it's a black and white picture of Pac with a title. It looks amazing. But is the difference with the AEW presentation and their refereeing the difference between what we see in New Japan and what we see in AEW? There are some adjustments that the wrestlers obviously had to make with the timing of the counting and stuff like that. It looked like when they showed the replay of that Cole of Cole taking the pin there, it did look like he was trying to kick out. And the ref, because Jay White was draped over Cole's shoulder that was kicking out, the ref just, maybe he thought that was supposed to be the finish. I don't know what the deal was there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sure. Look, our show tomorrow, I'm sure we'll have plenty of Forbidden Door notes, some clarification on what happened there. Miscommunications are going to happen, especially when you bring two companies, 4 competitors who are so used to doing it a certain way. I mean, as much as we'd like to think that wrestling is this universal thing, you can't tell me that working over in AAA for a long time, for example, and the way their refs are, where every ref is like a different entity, a different personality, and then coming over to a completely different company. Well, the same kind of thing here, New Japan and AEW, they have their muscle memory. They have what they know when they do this stuff. And it's one thing to go to like a smaller, a show that isn't as prominent as this and do it. You can get away with it. But when all eyes are on this, there's a giant spotlight on you. There's going to be miscommunications. Unfortunately, it happened at the finish of otherwise a pretty terrific Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah, it was a really fun match. Yeah, it was. All right. Would you like to get into the recap, Steve?
Yeah, let's do it. Sorry, I was looking at a replay of Cole dodging that last Rainmaker, and somebody mentioning, Adam Cole looked like maybe when he came down to dodge it, he braced himself with the arm, and it was the bad arm, and at that point he just sort of falls over, and maybe that was it. I mean, honestly, like, I'm glad they didn't run away from it. They showed the replay and everything because there's a legitimate reason for that. He's coming into it with a shoulder injury. It's wrestling. That stuff happens even in the universe, in the story.
Exactly.
So, yeah. And if it's like, okay, well, maybe Jay White recognized that and went for it because he knew he was down.
Let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp Online Therapy. Steve, burnout is usually associated with work, but any of life's roles can leave you feeling overwhelmed and burned out without you really realizing it.
That's true, Larson. So if you're experiencing fatigue, irritability, or a lack of motivation, you could be dealing with burnout. And BetterHelp wants to remind you to prioritize yourself. Talking to someone can help you find out what's causing the stress in your life.
Yeah, I've been there before. There have been times in my life where I wasn't taking enough time for myself, where I was feeling overwhelmed by life. So I've felt that fatigue, that lack of motivation, that irritability that comes with burnout. And I've gone through the process of trying to find a therapist, so I know how difficult it can be to find the right person to talk to. But BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to.
It's also much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. And right now, Going In Raw listeners can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/raw. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
Before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, Athletic Greens. You know me, Steve. I'm always on the lookout for ways to get more energy and improve my gut health. And now I've started taking AG1. I'm getting 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start my day off right.
Yeah, man. Athletic Greens is the one thing with the best things. It uses the best of the best products based on the latest science to support your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, sleep, mental clarity, and aging. Plus, it contains less than 1 gram of sugar and has no artificial anything, no gross chemicals, and no GMOs.
Yeah, I make myself a serving of AG1 first thing in the morning before I eat some breakfast. I've noticed that my gut health has improved and my energy has gone up. And it's been a breeze to work into my daily routine. And whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, AG1 could fit into your lifestyle, and it costs less than $3 a day.
Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health.
To make it easy, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/raw. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/raw to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Let's dive into it. The buy-in featured first match, the Factory, QT Marshall and Aaron Solo versus Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto, former, fairly recently, IWGP tag champions.
Yep.
Easy day at the office for Goto and Yoshihashi, picking up the win over QT Marshall and Aaron Solo.
It was competitive enough where QT was like, hey, I'm going to hit a diamond cutter. And then he does hit it later on. Then Goto has to go break up that pin. So eventually QT tags in Aaron Solo. But before he leaves the ring, he misses a 450. Yoshihashi tags in Hiroki Goto. They hit a bunch of moves, culminates in their finisher to get the win. Yeah, the outcome of this match was not in doubt whatsoever.
After that, we had Nick Camarado versus Lance Archer. Camarado got plenty of his shit in, but Suzuki-gun / AEW guy, Lance Archer, representing Suzuki-gun. Lance Archer. There's a lot of cool big men stuff in here, but Lance Archer, he's obviously, the spotlight guy here.
He's going to be the G1, so he needs this win.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. Hits Blackout on Nick Camarado to get the win here.
Then we had a Suzuki-gun team of Kanemaru and El Desperado taking on Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. So, of course, going into this, Swerve and Keith, they're not really on the same page, but they win. They're winning despite that. And there was one pretty prominent mishap here between the two of them where Keith Lee is holding Desperado in the corner. He tags in. Swerve's looking for a drop kick on Desperado. Desperado moves. So Swerve drop kicks Keith Lee in his knee, and then Suzuki-gun just works over Keith Lee's leg over and 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 over again. They actually did a pretty good job of taking away what, Steve?
His vertical base.
Vertical base, exactly. And so Keith Lee is just, they're wrecking his knee. At one point, Desperado distracts the ref. Kanemaru spits some whiskey in Keith Lee's face. Rolls him up. Keith Lee kicks out. Swerve comes in, hits a house call, hits a bunch of stuff. He clears house. And then Keith Lee hits Kanemaru with a Big Bang Catastrophe to get the win. And then Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, they're up in a luxury suite.
Yeah.
At the United Center. And then Hobbs says, the two of you refer to yourself as Shaq and Kobe, or we're the Jordan and Pippen. And then Stark says, I find it funny that Lee and Swerve think they're the best tag team and they'll never compare to us. How can you say you're the best when you haven't beat Hobbs and Starks?
This match was, it's funny because like going into this, again, with predictions, I had a thin lead. I was like a 1 point lead over you, 2 leads over Enforcer. And this match right here, I only put 2 confidence points on it because like, man, either Swerve and Lee are they're gonna break up here, which I didn't think. I think that's gonna happen during the Hobbs Starks match.
Yeah.
But I had 2 points. 2 points can be a lot sometimes.
Yeah.
And these fools are out there and they get worked 90% of this match. Swerve and Lee are getting worked the entire thing. And then they're able to pull it out at the end. But yeah, for being a buy-in match, I was like, I have no idea who's going to win this. And they're doing a really damn good job telling me that the one of the teams that I got my channel points or my prediction points on is about to lose. But they did a good job with that. And yeah, I'm looking. I like this, man. That they've been telling the story a lot on Dark Elevation as well. They had like a match where Keith Lee wouldn't tag in Swerve, and Swerve was like, "What the hell, man?" And of course on Rampage, they were like, "Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there." I don't think they're going to get there before they split up. I don't think they're going to hit
so either. Or they could do the thing where they're on the precipice of whether it's winning the tag titles or beating Hobbs and Starks, and that's when it all falls apart.
Yeah. After that, we had the Gun Club, Billy, Colton, Austin, and Max Caster versus 4 members of the LA Dojo, Umura, Coughlin, the android, DKC, and now I forget who's the other guy.
Give me a moment. I'll find out.
Oh, shit. I thought you were testing me here. So at the beginning of this match, Danhausen shows up.
Yeah, this was a bit confusing.
And he's like, "I've got a present for you." And then the Ass Boys themselves, not Billy, but his sons, they go running away. They go running up the stage. Knight? Who's Knight? Is that his name? I don't know who that is. Anyways,
I don't know.
It's 4 young boys.
Kevin Knight.
No idea who that is. He's like, "Yeah, I got a present for you guys," and they run away, and so it's like 2 on 4. And but luckily, one of those guys is a former WWE Tag Champion, King of the Ring,
a mountain of a man,
and he's a mountain of a person. TMQ says LA Knight from the LA Dojo, LA Knight. Oh man, I'm gonna pay more. I gotta start watching Strong, man. It's like an hour a week. I gotta start watching Strong.
Yeah. Tony Khan media scrum just started, so I'll keep an eye on that.
Awesome.
So yeah, at the end, Billy hits a famouser on DKC. Max Caster follows with the top rope elbow. A long weekend for DKC, taking 2 losses.
Man, this one isn't that bad. You're facing a mountain of a human and Billy Gunn, and I know. Look, I'm gonna catch heat with a lot of the hookers out there, the Hook fan base. I like Hook just fine, but I looked up this DKC fella, and I saw him he had some Impact matches, so I'm relatively familiar with him. This dude's had 111 matches under his belt, and Hook's had 10, and Hook dismantled him on Rampage. I'm like, let this kid get some offense in, man. But they're doing something.
He didn't get a whole lot.
Hook. No,
he didn't get a whole lot against Hook. Nope.
He didn't.
So the main card kicked off with some entertainers. Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki taking on Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shooter. This match was a ton of fun.
I had not seen Shooter since he was under Mox's tutelage.
Jacked.
He's jacked. Yeah.
He is huge.
Yeah, man. No, he looks like aesthetically, he sort of designed like a bit of like a dollar store mix of Tanahashi and Ticking Time Bomb. Like this is like a little bit. He needs a little bit more flair, but no, he looked great. Yeah, he looks amazing. And man, that excursion stuff, it really does wonders because this guy was pulling out stuff that I hadn't seen before. It was really awesome to see. And on top of that, they ran a package beforehand showing his history with Chris Jericho when he was a young boy. And so they let him get a bunch of shit in on Jericho during this match. Cool. That was awesome to see.
Even put Jericho on the walls of Jericho.
He did. There was a really fun sequence between Eddie Kingston and Suzuki where they're just doing violent things to each other. That was really cool. But in the end, Jericho hits Shooter with a Judas effect, picks up the win for his team. So now the Jericho Appreciation Society, they have the advantage going into Blood and
Guts. We expected that would be the case, because they're probably going to lose that match, even though Blackpool Combat Club stood tall to end the show. So Claudio got the All Elite graphic, so it is official.
Oh, nice.
He is.
What a smart
elite
guy. What did I tell you during the stream, man? What a smart guy. He says, oh, Tony Khan hired a bunch of older dudes that probably going to start dropping like flies at any moment. Wait till that happens. You need some WWE star power.
I know. You need a pop. You need a high profile fill in for an injury.
Yep. You got
in case of emergency, break glass, sign Claudio.
You got 6 feet 4 inches of nothing but muscle.
Yeah,
man. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yep.
That WWE stuff's good stuff.
Let me ask you this, because this crossed my mind at the end.
Yeah, please.
So I'm going to fast forward a bit. So there was a big brawl at the end between JAS and Blackpool Combat Club plus Eddie, Santana Ortiz, etc. So Claudio, member of Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah.
He's got a history with Regal.
Yeah.
He also has a history with Eddie Kingston. They don't like each other.
That is correct.
What are the possibilities? Claudio, cameraman, turns on Blackpool Combat Club, joins up with JS, and they win Blood and Guts.
I had thought of that heading into this. He just because of like his history with, I know the history with Eddie is there, but those kind of guys like to settle their beef with violence, and then they bond over it.
Yeah.
It's not a completely out of the question type situation, but I think that like they have to get this win. I think.
This is interesting. This is from David Bixenspan from the Media Scrum. So apparently Claudio had already signed, but Tony Khan didn't tell anyone, and then Danielson suggested Claudio without knowing that Claudio was already signed.
Did he say when he was signed?
No, this is based on this tweet from Bixenspan. No.
That's hilarious. That's awesome.
That's pretty funny.
That's
pretty
great.
funny. Next bout for winner take all tag titles. Roppongi Vice. Roppongi Vice versus Great O'Khan, Jeff Cobb versus FTR. Man, hell of a reception FTR got. Ooh. They're super over his faces. It's crazy.
Super over. So early on.
Yeah, really early on.
Really early on. I think even before he tagged into the match?
No, he was in the match for a little bit.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah.
So I had read, and I don't know if anybody corroborated this or not, but somebody I think in chat said this was tweeted out, that it looked like some sort of like a Jeff Cobb move sort of hit Dax, and then he went down with like a separated shoulder or something.
Yeah, the commentary said dislocated shoulder. Yeah.
Sorry, dislocated shoulder. And so it was really early on. The trainers go tend to him. He goes to the back, and he looks like he's in fucking pain.
Yeah.
But then, true Willis Reed style, or that one game where Paul Pierce pooped himself.
Yeah.
He comes back probably about 7-10 minutes later, after Cash was in there for a long time by himself. And he comes back all taped up and bandaged up on the shoulder, and finishes the match, and FTR end up getting the win with a really cool finish here. It was a shatter machine, but they call it Big Rig. Yeah, Big Rig now, right?
Yeah, I know. I like Shatter Machine, so that name.
It's a really cool name, I know.
So at the finish, Dax tags himself in, and then Rocky just tries to roll him up in all sorts of different ways, and Dax kicks out of all of them, and then finally Rocky hits an arm wringer on the bad arm, and then hits a kick, and then Cash just sneaks in the ring. FTR hit Shatter Machine. They get the win. They have all the belts now.
Yeah, man, and it was conspicuous too at the end. They had the Ring of Honor. They held up. They do walk in with the AAA tag titles, but in the end, when they hold them high, they've got the IWGP and the Ring of Honor titles. So yeah, your assumption or your guess was that this is going to lead to a winner take all for the AEW titles.
I would think so,
and they're going to end up with just
all the titles. Assuming, hopefully, If it was just a dislocated shoulder.
Yeah, right.
So the shoulder joint popped out. They were able to put it back in. And there's no damage beyond just the shoulder popping out. Mm-hmm. And hopefully Dax won't miss a whole lot of time. If it's a separated shoulder, that's different because that's where your collarbone meets up here. Mm-hmm. And that's a different joint. That's one of the injuries I think that Finn Balor had with a separated shoulder. That's he also had a torn labrum though. So long story short, hopefully Dax isn't out very long.
Agreed. After that, we had an interview with
Steve's absolute favorite.
With Juice Robinson. The night was going so well, and then he showed up on my screen, and Jay White was next to him. And he just talks about being the true United States champion, and he declares that particular match, the one that was coming up later, Will Osprey, Orange Cassidy, was simply a number one contenders match for his title. So the story now, apparently on the road to, is going to be trying to get that title away from Juice Robinson because he can't fight for it. And then Jay White was also there, and he said, Juice is going to beat Will. Mox and Tana is going to...
He did back when he won
he said he already beat him, yeah. Mox and Tana to win the title, and I look to repeat that feat tonight, so...
Yep.
Anyways, after that, we had the Fatal 4-Way for the new All-Atlantic title. Clark Connors, who had a wonderful reception with the fans, was really able to get them into it. I mean, he's sort of like proxy for us because everybody else in this match, they're all kind of weirdos.
Well, they're all like huge, larger-than-life characters and personalities. And then... I don't watch a whole lot of New Japan Strong, so I mean I've seen a couple Clark Connors match, but I'm not like super familiar with his character work. But yeah, he was definitely kind of the everyman.
Yeah, right.
In this particular bout, yeah.
Yeah. And you see Malachi Black walking down the street with all his face paint, and be like, "That's a weirdo." So, anyways, no, but he had a terrific showing in this match. There was a lot of Miro throwing him around. Miro got the biggest reception of the night when he came out, by far.
By far.
Yeah.
Oh, the Miro, Clark Connors wasn't exclusive to being thrown around by Miro. Miro was throwing everybody around.
Yeah, he was doing that to everybody.
There's a large stretch of this bout where Miro just absolutely dominated. Mm-hmm. People would jump toward him, catch him. That's more Superman. He'd slam him, hit an Uranagi, stuff like that. But yeah, in the end, it was Pac's match, and he is now the All-Atlantic champion. Finish saw Pac hit a super kick on Connors. He goes up top. Malachi sweeps his feet out from under him. He's looking for a superplex, and then Connors gets up there to do a double superplex, and then Miro gets in the ring after being speared through a table by Connors. Hits the Tower of Doom. He hits Pac with a Machka kick. Locks on game over. Pac's trying to get to the rope. Miro brings him back to the middle of the ring. And then Malachi breaks that up by misting Miro, hits him with the black mass. Connors charges towards Malachi. Malachi puts him in a cross arm breaker, and then Pac climbs at the top, hits the black arrow on Malachi to break that up, and then puts the brutalizer on Connors. Connors taps. Pac is your first All-Atlantic champion.
Yep. And he looks great.
Yeah, that picture is awesome.
I know,
it really is.
After that, we had Shingo Takagi and the Dudes with Attitudes, Darby Allen and Sting, versus Bullet Club, Young Bucks, and LP. Of course, this match also over the weekend, I think just yesterday, was announced by AEW that Hiromu Takahashi, the ticking time bomb, had a fever, could not travel for this match, and so they just dumped Ikaleu off. He was just the enforcer for Bullet Club on the outside, so it was a 3-on-3 match. This was rad because, like, to open things up, so Sting's music plays, like Darby and Shingo come out. Sting's music plays, but there's no Sting. Then we get Bullet Club. So Bullet Club comes out. They make their entrance, but then they're down sort of on the stage. The lights come down, the spotlight shines, and Sting's up in the rafters. And he points, and then the lights go back down again. They come back up, and there's an awesome silhouette of Sting.
Yeah, it's really well done. It's like Batman.
Yeah, it's like Batman. Sort of on the back wall over there near the stage, and then you look, and then Sting is up there, and he just drops a big splash right onto Bullet Club. It was pretty awesome. Sting's amazing doing this shit at his age. So it was pretty great.
It was pretty great. It was another really fun match. You get all the usual LP stuff, and then you get the Young Bucks joining in with the back scratches and such. And LP tried to do the
nipple twists
on Sting. Sting no sold that. Although he didn't no-sell the dick punch. He didn't no-sell that.
Yeah, well, that's hard to... He goes full on with that thing. It's like
really
Lacey Evans finish, but to the dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the what do they call it? The Dermis Destroyer?
Yeah.
That shit was hilarious. Matt Jackson really went overboard with it. It was pretty great.
Yeah, and that's saying something because LP always goes overboard with it.
Yeah, Matt was trying to outdo him. It was awesome.
It was pretty funny. So down towards the finish, the Young Bucks take out Darby and Shingo with a pair of suicide dives. LP falls with like a springboard moonsault. Sting's setting up for a dive, and then all at Bullet Club hit the ring, triple super kick on Sting. So the Young Bucks are looking for a BTE trigger on Sting. He evades that. They knock knees. He hits them with a double Scorpion death drop, and then he goes out of the ring. And then Nick says to him, "No, you have to get back in." You can see him point to the ring.
Because LP still, he's supposed to go now do the thing to LP, and he forgets, and he goes out. You see Nick say, "Get back in there, you got to take care," because LP's just in there now doing this shit.
He's just dancing, yeah.
He's
so
just
Sting
dancing
goes back
around.
He goes back in there. He twists LP's nipples, kicks him in the front area. Darby then takes out Hikuleo with the coffin drop to the floor, and then Shingo's in, and he's just peppering LP with a bunch of shots. Hits a sliding clothesline, gets a 2, and then finally hits him with Last of the Dragon to get the win.
Yeah. Good stuff. It was a lot of fun. Those Sting matches, they are always so incredibly fun. Mm-hmm. I love that stuff. That's so great.
That is great.
All right. Next up, we had an announcement. AEW's Grand Slam's coming back to New York, September 21st.
Yeah, just 3 weeks after, I would imagine, All Out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then we got a shooter interview, but Jericho Appreciation Society pretty quickly come in, and then Jericho's like, hey, you really earned my respect tonight. And 2.0 were there, and they're like, yeah, we got a lot of respect for you. Then Jericho throws a fireball in his face.
Yeah, that was messed up. Oh, so apparently, according to our chat here, Tony Khan says Death Before Dishonor next month. So there were rumors about a July start for Ring of Honor. So that's cool. That's neat.
That is cool.
See if that AEW will rub off on the new Ring of Honor.
Then we had Tony Storm versus Thunder Rosa. This is a really fun match.
Yeah, this was a cool match, dude.
I was hoping Tony would get the win here. Fortunately, didn't happen. But nonetheless, it was a hell of a bout. Down towards the end, Thunder Rosa's looking for a DDT or Death Valley Driver on the apron. Tony escapes that, hits her with the German suplex. She hits DDT to the floor, puts her in the ring. Hits a hip attack. Yeah.
Those hip attacks are something else, man. My
they really
God,
are.
They wreck people.
They really are. And ever since, remember when Britt had us all fooled? That she
oh
got,
my God, I know, yeah.
Knocked out with one. Ever since then, I'm like skittish about the hip attacks.
It's like this. It's like how they used to do the Saray dropkick.
Yeah. And then after that, Tony hits her tornado DDT, gets a 2 count. Then Rosa hits a code breaker, a Death Valley Driver, a Fire Thunder Driver, her finish.
Yeah.
Tony Storm kicked out of Thunder Rosa's finish.
Woo! I do not remember last time anybody kicked out of that.
Yeah, I don't either. And so Thunder Rosa hits some kicks. Tony catches one, hits a German suplex. She's looking for Storm Zero. Thunder Rosa blocks that. Hits an arm wringer because she was working Tony's arm earlier. And then hits Dustin Rhodes' finish, Final Reckoning, to get the win.
Yeah. No, that was cool. Interesting. I like that. I like when people use different finishers to get.
I do too.
I think it's pretty cool. After that, we had Orange Cassidy versus Will Osprey. We talked a little bit about this match already. Some really good wrestling going on here. I just think, the story leading into this was just such that I was like, I don't even know why these guys are in a match. That doesn't mean I can't appreciate good wrestling. I just don't think that the story was necessarily as focused on their strengths maybe as it could have been, or told a story that was a bit more crystal clear. I don't know. I don't want to dump on this match. It was a fine match.
No. It was fine. When we say this match was maybe the low point for us, the low point of the night, and this was still a pretty good match.
Yeah,
that's not us saying this match was crap. It was speaking to the quality of the card.
The
overall.
Entire thing was good, and the thing about this match also that was notable is it was the first time all night that the crowd did seem to dip a bit.
A little bit, yeah.
They were like, we'll see. But then by the finish, when they were doing all that crazy cool shit, I think the turning point was the kicks to the head. The goofy ones. What are the quad kicks?
Yeah.
And it was a goof thing that Orange Cassidy does, and then Osprey got annoyed with it, and then Orange Cassidy did the real ones. Yeah, he did the real ones, and then the crowd got much more into it.
Yeah, and maybe part of the build too wasn't so much Orange Cassidy kind of doing his usual mind game stuff, if you will.
Yeah.
It was just a bunch of brawling. There was a bunch of huge brawls. That was because it was not just Cassidy and Osprey. It was Roppongi Vice and the rest of the United Empire. So you had these giant brawls that were happening on a regular basis on Dynamite and Rampage, and didn't really focus so much on the character aspect, especially of Orange Cassidy. Maybe that's part of the reason why. And so maybe we don't. There was moments we saw Orange Cassidy's personality, like the quad kicks, a couple other moments, but not. There weren't. I didn't really feel like there were stretches where he was just being like prime Orange Cassidy. It was just more like bits and pieces here, anyways.
Yeah.
Will Osprey gets the win. The finishing segment was really good. So Will Osprey, after the quad kicks part, hits a Spanish fly, cheeky Nando's. Orange then, so they're on the top rope, and then Orange rams Osprey's head into the top of the ring post and breaks the camera up there.
That was a good spot.
That was great. Will then elbows Orange off the top rope, and then Orange just kind of like really slowly, like he's playing possum, lays on the mat.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to get Will to do something so he
Sucker
can
him in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So then Osprey does like 3 different attempts at a moonsault and finally hits one, goes for another standing shooting star press or something. Orange Cassidy gets his knees up, hits a beach break, gets a 2. He looks for an orange punch. Osprey reverses that to a cutter, hits an Os cutter. That gets him a 2. He goes for a hidden blade again. Orange ducks that. Osprey goes for Stormbreaker. Orange reverses that to a Hurricane Rana pin. Gets a 2 there, and that's when Osprey hits hidden blade. Orange kicks out, and then Osprey hits a Stormbreaker to get the win. And then Aussie opens, hits the ring, starts stomping on Orange Cassidy. Again, another huge brawl. Roppongi Vice comes out, try to make the save. They get beat up too, and then Shibata comes out.
Yeah, that was cool.
And he takes out Mark Davis. Osprey hits with a couple shots. Shibata lays him out with a pump kick. We got the corner drop kick. And eventually Aussie open pulls Osprey out of the ring. And then Orange comes up to Shibata, puts the sunglasses on him, gives him the shoulder lean and a thumbs up.
I didn't think Shibata could look any cooler than he did, but then he put on cool sunglasses.
He looks super cool.
And he looks super cool. Yeah.
Super cool.
That was a fun match. I like how us saying, yeah, no, this wasn't like our favorite match, but it's still really good. It's going to turn into, oh, why are you guys shitting all over this match?
Again, it just speaks to the quality of the show that this match was just good.
Yeah, it was good. It's fine.
Just wasn't our favorite.
Yeah, it's okay. After that, we had Zack Sabre Jr. versus Vacant. Vacant ended up being Claudio Castagnoli. Now, it's kind of got everywhere today. Fightful Select earlier today reported that there were some promotional materials. Number one, it was reported earlier that Claudio had in fact been doing some in-ring training at the Flatback Academy, Tyler Breeze and Sean Spears' academy. And then today, Fightful Select had a report that some people had seen some promotional material featuring Claudio in the Blood and Guts match. And then Dave Meltzer today also on Twitter indicated that Claudio was backstage. So this was, by the time today rolled around, if you pay any attention, this is sort of not a surprise. But it was awesome to see Claudio Castagnoli now in AEW. As you said earlier, he's got the graphic. He is AEW. So it was great. And it was awesome to see him in there. It's funny to see WWE guys show up in AEW. They are big, man. They're big, especially he's been in WWE he had been in WWE for a long time. And when they were recruiting his class, they were big dudes.
Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. Jersey Statham here in chat says Tony Khan said he was supposed to debut at the Ring of Honor show instead.
Really?
Claudio. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Bjornsky here in chat reminds us that, so for a while, there was a ringside cameraman in AEW that was tall. And we were like, oh, Claudio. That's got to be Claudio. At any moment, he's going to take the hat and mask off, and we're going to see Claudio in the ring. And this was months. This is going back to Revolution, I think.
This goes back a long ways.
And then he went up to that cameraman and posed with him.
If anybody's following me on Twitter, I retweeted the picture. What a sense of validation. Because the entire time we're like, when is this guy going to reveal himself as Claudio cameraman?
And dude's about the same height.
Yeah, dude, he's got like the same. I'm not gonna say the same build, but from a distance, like, oh, that could totally be Claudio Cameraman.
Oh, totally.
Obviously, this match was terrific. Zack Sabre Jr. is incapable of putting on bad matches. Claudio's fantastic. This is just sort of, I feel like, the tip of the iceberg too. Like, I get the feeling if they have this match a year from now, it's going to be infinitely better, and it was already really good. Mm-hmm. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Claudio can do. Match after match, night after night, week after week. Now, not in the WWE. He's always been one of the more creative wrestlers during his time with WWE, which does have a bit more of a lockdown house style. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's going to do.
Yeah. Mayor Planet Houston here says, y'all's theory made its way to Reddit and it blew up there.
Ah, that's funny.
That is funny. This is a really physical bout. Zack Sabre Jr. working both Claudio's arm and his leg. Claudio having some answers for the submission moves of Zack Sabre Jr. I didn't notice in the video package leading into this bout, because going into it, the idea was Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson for the title of Best Technical Wrestler in the World. I didn't notice in the video package beforehand if they kind of walked that back, because you could have Claudio just beat Zack Sabre Jr., not necessarily for the idea that now Claudio is Best Technical Wrestler in the World, and then still retain that idea for the eventual Zack Sabre Jr. Bryan Danielson match.
Man, I have no idea if Zack Sabre Jr. said anything or if he's going to say anything, but this is easy. You do the same thing they did with Seth and Cody. Said, I wasn't prepared for this guy. I need to prepare for people.
Exactly.
So they did walk it back because, you can't. Yeah, absolutely. This was terrific. It wasn't it was a much different match. I mean, obviously they're two different wrestlers, but it's a much different match, I think, than we were gonna get with Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah.
Claudio's full on bringing the swing with him because we got that late in the match. He tried it early, couldn't get it on. He got it later on, but Zack Sabre Jr., of course, being who he is, he's trying to get Claudio into he's reversing all sorts of stuff into submission holds. Towards the finish, he tried to he transitioned a heel look into a figure four. Claudio transitioned that to a sharpshooter, hits a double stomp. Zack Sabre Jr. hits a bunch of penalty kicks. Claudio responds with an uppercut, a clothesline, gets two with that, and then he hits a pop-up uppercut, discus clothesline, and a big old power bomb to get the win.
Yep. Then we got the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship Fatal 4-Way bout. Adam Cole Bebe versus Hangman Page versus Kazuchika Okada versus Jay White. A lot of fun stuff here early on. Jay White and Adam Cole are working together. Okada and Hangman a little bit, but not as much. And then at one point, Cole and Jay White, too sweet, and Cole just turns on Jay White.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just turns on him. And then there's this pretty fun sequence where Hangman is almost desperate to hit somebody with a buckshot to get this win.
Yeah.
He's just coming in from all sides of the ring, trying to get buckshots on people. And also Okada is trying to hit a Rainmaker, and neither of them could do it at all. And so down towards the finish, Page lays out Okada with a clothesline. He looks for a buckshot. Cole pulls him off the apron, throws him in the ring steps. Cole gets in the ring. He's looking for a Panama Sunrise on Okada. Okada reverses that to a neck breaker, hits a top rope elbow. He calls for the Rainmaker. Cole ducks it. Page looks for a buckshot. Okada ducks it. Cole hits a bunch of super kicks. Okada responds with a drop kick, misses a Rainmaker. Page goes for a buckshot. Cole super kicks him. Okada hits Cole with a drop kick, a landslide, misses the Rainmaker again, and that's when Jay slides in, hits Okada with a Blade Runner, and then covers Cole to get the win. So far, we haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything on Twitter regarding any questions being asked about Adam Cole. But we'll keep looking. And then Undisputed Elite walked down the ring after the match is over, and I wonder if they were supposed to have an angle there, but they realized Cole was hurt, and they're like, so they cut away pretty quick.
That could be. Yeah, that could absolutely be. And then we had our main event, Jon Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the AEW Interim World Championship. And this is a fine match. It was Mox, very heel Mox in this match, getting ready, I guess, for blood and guts. Tons of blood in this match, mainly Mox, suffered at the hands, evidently, of a sling blade.
Yeah, I'm still not sure. There wasn't like that one moment where you're like, oh yeah, I understand why he's bleeding. He took a sling blade, rolled out of the ring, and he was bleeding a ton from his forehead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know what happened there. Selling that sling blade, man. Bladed himself over a sling blade.
I guess so, which it shows how powerful Tanahashi's sling blade is.
Right? Yeah.
So down towards the end, Mox
sorry, not to interrupt. I apologize. This is interesting. So, like, a couple of people here in chat noted that the Young Bucks almost helped Hangman up, speculating that maybe that was part of the angle, that if they were going to do something, it would have been involved Cole and Hangman.
Gotcha. Oh, that could be.
And the Bucks,
So Mox is looking for a paradigm shift. Tanahashi blocks that, hits a pair of twisted shouts. Mox responds with a German suplex, hits a paradigm shift. That gets him a 2. And then Mox starts dropping a bunch of 12-6 elbows, looking for another paradigm shift. Tanahashi counters with a headbutt and hits a Kamigoye, which is great. Ace is high off the top. He goes back up, hits a high fly flow, gets a 2. Mox right into a bulldog choke. And like there's a stretch here where Mox puts him in like a submission move, like the bulldog choker sleeper. Tana has an answer for it, rolling him up. And eventually, though, Mox manages to lock on a sleeper, transitions to a bulldog choke. Tana gets to his feet. Mox hits him with a paradigm shift to get the win, and then like a lot of Dynamite's end, we get the brawl to end the show. So Jericho and Daniel Garcia come in the ring. They start beating up Mox and Tanahashi. Eddie runs out to make the save, and then eventually Wheeler Yuta, Santana and Ortiz, the rest of Jericho Appreciation Society come down. Huge brawls breaking out. Jericho Appreciation Society has the upper hand. Claudio runs out to make the save. He pretty much lays out everybody, swings Angelo Parker a bunch. JAS take their leave, and we're just all waiting for it. When is Eddie and Claudio going to have their moment? And right before cameras cut, you have Claudio just kind of leaning on the top rope, almost like saying, hey Eddie, how's it doing?
What's your problem?
And Eddie's just like cursing Claudio's name. He's spitting at him. Yeah.
And then Mox is just laughing. He's just sitting there like, there's another mess I got to clean up.
It's blood pouring down his face. Exactly. Yeah,
that was good stuff. All right, anyways. That's going to do it for our review of AEW New Japan Forbidden Door. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 Pacific, 2 Eastern, live at twitch.tv/Stephen Larson, and then it goes up everywhere on YouTube and wherever podcasts can be found. If you're watching us on YouTube, do us a huge favor, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit the notify bell. If you're listening to us in the audio realm, do us a huge favor, leave us a rating, review, or comment. It really helps grow Going in Raw. Thanks to our sponsors today, and thanks to everybody for hanging out with us during Forbidden Door. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonator Phil McDonald, here to tell you to go support Going in Raw and Friendo Club at patreon.com/Stephen Larson. They got bonus episodes, ad-free audio, a weekly newsletter rounding up the week in wrestling news, and a bunch more. Patreon.com/Stephen Larson. Go support or get hit with a stunner.